Hello, everyone. Welcome to Psychology 520. I know for some of you, this will be your first class that you take in our master's program. So, welcome to our master's in applied psychology as well. And welcome back if this is not your first class. And so, this course is about equity, inclusion, and access. And so, I'm recording this intro video in summer 2025. And unfortunately, this is a time where even creating and planning to teach a course like this is under attack. Um, the current administration does not believe we should be addressing these issues, and that's problematic because it's vital for psychology as a field, in particular for applied psychologists who will be on the ground working with people in their day to day to be aware of these concepts and apply them in their day to day work. And so this is a course that is going to explore those things through both data and theory. It's also a class where we'll think about application of these concepts, right? How are these applied in the workplace? How could it be helpful? Where are we lacking as a field in these areas? So we will be talking about, unfortunately, again, controversial words shouldn't be controversial given the great history, decades long, of the importance of these constructs within the field of psychology. But we'll be talking about things like privilege. Who has privilege? What does that privilege give you? We'll be talking about oppression. What is it like to live as an oppressed person? What are the ramifications of that in your life? We'll talk about the big D word, diversity, and how vital it is to the workplace. We'll also talk about intersectionality, which is the recognition that people have more than one identity. So, let's say you are of Asian descent and you identify as a lesbian and you also have an unseen disability. Well, your experience is going to be very different to someone who is of Hispanic descent or Caucasian, European American descent, right? For someone who's heterosexual, for someone who doesn't have a disability, is temporarily able bodied, right? So we're going to think about how those differences exist. We're going to talk about equity. How do we make things equitable, and how is that different than making things equal? We're going to talk about ensuring access for everyone. And when we think about access and accessibility, we tend to think about disability, and certainly that's an important piece of it, but it's about more than that, and we'll just explore that. We'll talk about inclusion, including everyone's perspective, and how important that is, not only to just getting diverse opinions around the table, but to business and being successful and the bottom line. We'll talk about justice, right? How do we make sure the workplace feels just? How do we make sure that we are applying justice in a way that makes sense to the employees? And our last thing that we'll discuss is a not so new subfield within psychology. It was developed in the 60s, but something that a lot of people haven't heard of, and that's liberation psychology, which focuses around the idea that psychology shouldn't just uphold the status quo and study the status quo. Instead, psychologists should focus in on trying to help better the world and emancipate people from injustice and our challenges in doing that as a field. All of your course materials are posted on Blackboard. There's no book that you need to buy. They're all primary sources. In addition, you will do some really interesting assignments throughout the semester. So you'll be involved in discussions each week. You'll get a chance to lead discussion for your fellow students. You will also be doing reflections on more applied pieces and thinking about it in the context of your current or a past workplace. And then your big assignment will be analyzing, again, a current or past workplace in terms of how are they doing on these issues and what could they do to do better. When you take this class, I will most likely be your instructor. At least right now, I am the most qualified person, given my background. I'm Dr. Taryn Myers. I have a PhD in clinical psychology. My undergraduate degree was in psychology with a concentration in women's and gender studies. I teach in our gender, women, and sexuality studies department. I make it my goal to study these issues, to study intersectionality, to think about more than just white people, right, or white college students. And so I hope that you will approach this with an open mind if this is the first time you've explored these issues. And if you've already explored these issues, I hope you'll bring your knowledge and wisdom to our experiences together. Thank you for taking this class. Thank you for engaging in good faith. And thank you for wanting to further your involvement in a field that is so vital in our current world.